Hi, and welcome to Vindicast number 4. I am going to be casting a Protoss versus Zerg today on one of the newer maps, which is Korhal Compound, between the red Protoss Helix Reborn, spawning in the top right, and the blue Zerg I Eat Fry Rice, which I think is supposed to be fried rice, spawning in the bottom left. This is another submission to me by Helix Reborn. He sent me a bunch of replays actually, and I chose this one because I wanted to cast a game on this map. I wanted to talk about this map a little bit. Korhal Compound is relatively new, so all of the nuances that you would get with some of the more established ladder maps are not quite there yet. We have an easy-to-defend natural for both players, and really the focus of this map, in my opinion, is the layout of the third base. The third base is a low-ground base that has multiple ways that you can attack it, because you can attack it both from the high ground and also coming around from the fourth, excuse me. The fourth base here is a little bit easier to defend, but obviously it's a lot further away from your main base. You can also help defending your third by utilizing this common ground between your natural and your third. This map is a pretty good map for Forge Fast Expands, in my opinion. And just as I say that, he doesn't throw down a Forge, he throws down a Gateway. This is a diamond level replay, I think, if I haven't mentioned that already. So I'm not really quite sure what Helix has in mind with this Gateway. I think it might be something like a 2-gate expand or a 2-gate pressure build with Zealots. I'm not really used to seeing this kind of play. Normally I see Forge Fast expands or a Gateway expand at the top of the ramp, so we'll have to see what this guy has in mind. The Zerg player is doing a very safe opening. He's got, I didn't see exactly what count he went for his spawning pool at, but it looks kind of like it's a little bit later than I normally do it when I play Zerg, but I'm not playing. So yeah, most Zerg players will go for the pool over the hatchery at the beginning, simply because Protoss has the option, if they go Forge Fast Expand, which is the most common opening against Zerg, to cannon rush a natural if you go hatch first. In this case, I think Helix just blocked the expand with a pylon, which is obviously going to prevent the expanding from going down before the Protoss is able to get his down, which he is doing as we speak. And now the Forge is going down. This is not typical. This is not a typical opening from Protoss at all. I don't normally see the Gateway down here at the bottom and then following up with a Forge. Typically it's a Cybernetics after that, and you go for some sort of Gateway timing. So I am about as confused as any of the viewers might be. I don't know exactly how this is going to work out or what his follow-up plan is, so I'm a little in the dark. The Zerg's follow-up, though, is relatively normal. A lot of Zergs will do this. When you block their natural expansion and you delay it, they will typically just go and take a third base right after that, if they know that you're expanding yourself, which in this case the Zerg does, because he has this nice little overlord here and this little cutty spot above the natural, just sitting down, spying on everything that the Protoss is doing like a little paparazzi tomboy. Okay. We got the Zealots coming in. 2 Zealots just putting on a little bit of pressure. There are no Zerglings up here yet, though. This is definitely not something the Zerg player is ready for. He's got to move that Queen. You can't lose that Queen. Not this early. You want to lose drones over a Queen at this point. You do not want to lose that Queen. Okay, he's just starting to realize how much danger that Queen's in. He's pulling his drones. The Zerglings are out. He should be microing a little bit better than he is. He loses 1 drone down. Gets another drone. 4 workers killed altogether from that little attack. That was very worthwhile for the Protoss. He's forced a lot of Zerglings too. So the Zerg player is definitely not feeling as comfortable as he could, especially if he's normally used to Protoss Forge Fast Expanding, which is, I guess, one of the reasons why you'd want to go for a Gateway opening. I mean, Zergs get really, really comfortable knowing that they can pretty much drone for 9 minutes or 10 minutes or however long it takes for the Protoss to do pressure if you're doing a Forge Fast Expand. But if you open with a Gateway, if all they've made are drones, you can definitely catch them with their pants down like he just did. I mean, 4 workers at this early in the game, and if he had gotten the queen, that would have been huge, but he didn't. So we have speedlings out on the map, but they are definitely not going to be effective, not with this much defense up already. And he's being extra safe, although having the cannons in front of the core unit structures is actually not that great of an idea, because that gives Zerglings surface area with which to attack them. Normally they would have to be funneled up and go around like the buildings blocking the photon cannons, while the photon cannons got free shots. But the Zerg doesn't want to risk it at this point. He's comfortable taking his comfortable on his third base. And I don't even think the Protoss knows about it yet. No, the Protoss does not know about that third base. So this is actually going to be a big deal, because if the Protoss doesn't know that he's taken that third base, he might just be comfortable macroing up himself and not going for the appropriate tech. But he is going to be getting a Stargate. So this Stargate will allow him to at least scout the map, if nothing else. But the Stargate is an expensive investment gas-wise. The other thing about it is that it draws gas away from your other tech structures. If you're going for some sort of robotics facility play later on in the game, you're going to be limited in when you can get it, because the Stargate is sucking up so much gas, and that's really the big problem with it. That's really the big problem with Stargate play. It's a gamble, simply because if it doesn't work, you've drawn 150 gas minimum away from the other tech choices that you could be going with. And it is going to be a Void Ray. So this is definitely going to be some sort of pressure build from the Protoss. He's getting +1 on his ground units as well, so it's probably going to be some form of Void Ray gateway timing attack. Which, considering that the Zerg took a third base, is probably a good idea, but the timing is off. The Spore Crawlers are already down. I don't know if the Zerg actually got a scout. No, he's really just being safe. And you'd want to be safe if you're in this point. If you know that you're ahead with your third base, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you lose your third because you're being greedy. So the Zerg is doing what he should be doing right now, which is throwing up some Spore Crawlers. He's getting an extra queen. He should be getting his creep spread going, which he is. He is being as safe as he can right now with what he has. But here's the big problem, actually. He's being so safe that he isn't actually producing nearly as many drones as he could be right now on those 3 bases. I mean, he does have the larva production to just explode in drone count right now, but it's a little late for that. We're already 10:30 in the game, and you're going to need to start making combat units, because the Protoss attack is going to be coming pretty soon. And he doesn't have enough income. He should be having more income right now, but he doesn't. It's also getting supply blocked a little bit. Okay. We also have +1 shields going down. That's a little unusual. I don't normally see +1 shields this early, but considering that you're opening with a Void Ray, it actually does make some sense, because now you don't need to take production time away from your cybernetics for the +1 attack, which is a little bit more common. Instead, you're just using your forge again instead of armor upgrades, getting the shields which also affects your air units and your ground units. So it's kind of a clever play. I'm staring right now at the robotics bay. I'm interested. I'm really interested in how this attack's going to go. We have a Stargate with a single Void Ray down, +1 shields coming up, and now we have a robotic support bay with Thermal Lance and a Colossus coming up. This is not standard. This is not standard at all. And I don't know why the Zerg is being so nervous with what the Protoss is doing, but he is not making drones. He's just not making nearly as many drones as he should be. He only has 40 drones. This is not good. This is not good at all. You're being so safe that it's actually going to cost you big time in the mid-game. This is the story of the game right now, is this guy's drone count. Nothing else is really nearly as important. Okay, now he's finally spiked up to 52 drones. He should already be at 70, to be honest. 13 minutes in, the Protoss hasn't done a single bit of pressure, and he's only got 50-something drones. 51 drones. That is really, really low. Okay, he's going to be getting some scouting information, though. There's already photon cannons up. These two players are playing really, really, really safe with each other. I'm not used to this. Maybe I'm just playing Protoss versus Zerg, or Zerg versus Protoss wrong, because I don't like to just let my opponent do whatever he wants. In this case, the Protoss is taking the opportunity and utilizing it a little bit better than the Zerg is, simply because of that drone count. But the Zerg is catching up. That drone count is getting higher. He is getting his Spire tech down, which is going to be corruptors for both the Void Rays and the Colossus. Okay, well now the Zerg does know and does see this really wonky unit composition that the Protoss has, and the Protoss is taking a third behind it. Loses a few roaches there. This is such a weird game. This is such a weird game. We have Roach Corruptor coming out from the Zerg, which is a pretty good counter composition to what the Protoss has, which is basically just Gateway Colossus with Void Ray this early on. And the supply count is gradually going in the Zerg's favor, because what the Protoss is using is very expensive in resources, if not so much supply, and the Zerg is using Roaches, which any Zerg will tell you is a huge supply dump. And now we have a carrier and a mothership in production, as if this game couldn't get any stranger. And the Zerg didn't see the fleet beacon, did he? No, he definitely didn't see the fleet beacon. So he did see the Void Rays, he did see the Colossus, he is already making Corruptors, but I do not think that he's going to be expecting a mothership play this early on. This is a 2-base mothership, carrier, stalker, zealot, everything with the kitchen sink the Protoss player has in his arsenal right now. The Zerg's taking his 4th base, playing a little bit more typical of what you'd see normally in this matchup. I'm really not sure how you're supposed to attack into this unit composition, but he is up by a lot of supply. He's up by 20 supply right now. He really should be putting on some sort of pressure with these Roaches at the very least. You can throw away Roaches at this point. If you can kill Stalkers, Sentries, or hell, even a Colossus, you're coming out ahead if you can give away these Roaches, but he's just not doing it. And he's not doing it because he doesn't have the production to remax that quickly. He is getting a 4th base, but he has no macro hatch. Okay, well, we do have the Roaches coming in. Let's see how this works out. He does have Roach Corruptor. I would put this a little bit in the Zerg's favor, but this is such an odd unit composition, I don't even know how this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to go at all. I'm eagerly awaiting. I'm eagerly awaiting to see what happens here. I think he might need a few more Corruptors. Okay, there they are. Here comes the mothership. There's no Overseer. If he had pushed a few seconds earlier, this whole thing would have been really different. Those Roaches are totally useless. They have no detection. It's only the Corruptors that are attacking. And the Stalkers are not shooting at the Roaches because the Roaches are so far back. That has to have been one of the strangest unit engagements I think I've ever seen. We are 18 minutes here, ladies and gentlemen, and the Protoss is pushing out with 1 carrier, 2 Colossus, 2 Void Rays, a handful of Stalkers, and a Sentry. He already used his mothership to great effect because the Zerg did not have an Overseer with him. And I think the Zerg's just confused. Like, the Roaches are going in the wrong direction. He sees his army coming, and where are his Corruptors? He's got a few more Corruptors being built, but he needs a few more. He also needs to make sure that he focus fires. Those Colossus are a much bigger deal right now than the carrier. The carrier looks menacing, but it's really not nearly as menacing as those Colossus are right now. His Corruptors are not bunched up together. I don't know where they are. Where are your Corruptors? Where are your Corruptors, man? You got 2 Corruptors over here. Where are the rest of them? You got a Corruptor over here. Oh. He's utilizing the terrain for his natural. Very good with the force fields. These Corruptors are not grouped together with each other. They're just all spread out. He's sending them in one by one. He's still managing to push this back just by the sheer weight of Roaches behind it, but, I mean, he's trading so inefficiently with the Protoss. Protoss is still going to win this engagement. Okay, well, the 3rd base is going to go down for sure, and the Protoss is making another mothership. Another mothership. He's reinforcing with Stalkers, which is a good idea, but he's going to be getting this 3rd base, and without that extra income and without that extra larva production, I just don't see any way the Zerg can recover from this. He needs more. He needs a lot more corruptors if he wants to deal with this, first of all. And he doesn't have the gas income to support those. Corruptors aren't cheap, man. Alright, that was such a strange game. I don't even really know what to say. Uh, don't try this. Don't try what this Protoss just did. The Zerg had ample opportunities, multiple opportunities, to actually take advantage of what the Protoss was doing. He was not putting on any pressure after those first two Zealots. And because of the way that he expanded early on, you actually can just bust that. You can easily bust that with Speedling Roach. Easily bust that. I know, like, he has cannons here now, but he didn't have nearly that many cannons by the time that you can execute one of those rushes. Second thing, too, he played so defensively after those first Zealots came in that his drone count was so low leading into the mid-game that he didn't have the income to support the army that he was trying to produce. And then finally, when the initial engagement happened here with the two armies clashing, there was no Overseer. Had there been an Overseer there, I'm very sure that the battle would have gone the other direction. And one more small little point, the Protoss wasn't using, or the Zerg, excuse me, wasn't using the Corruptor Corruption ability, which normally isn't that big of a deal. But if you're trying to burn down something like a mothership, that little percent damage, that damage booster actually makes a pretty big difference. If all of your Corruptors are trying to attack at the same target, the mothership would go down a lot quicker, and that would allow the roaches to actually get into the fight. Because the stalkers weren't getting killed at all, just pretty much picked apart the corruptors before they could actually do any damage to the combat air units after the mothership went down. So that was that game. That was very interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.